I was introduced to Puneet by a friend of mine, and I have no idea why I got caught up in this whole mess. But because everybody I say I'm going to have this says, Republican? Are you mad? So because he's everything I'm not. Okay? I'm Pakistani, he's in India. I'm a Democrat, he's definitely a Republican. Okay? And I'm Muslim and he's not. So I mean I don't know why I'm doing this, but I like it. My whole idea of politics and campaigning is that I want my voice amplified. And we will go. And I want access. He's promised me access. So which is why I'm doing all this. If he doesn't live up to those promises, God, he's going to hear from me.
I will, I know that.
Anyway, go ahead, I'll let you talk now.
Like Frida said, we have nothing in common. Great. But I gotta tell you, like, you know, I'm a values guy, and I think we gotta stand up for our values. And I met Puneet literally like maybe a few months ago, courtesy of John English Cares. And we've been just best friends since then. And we've been talking about his mission, his vision, about our community and what he's trying to accomplish. And I gotta tell you, what he's doing is amazing. Not a lot of, I'm gonna use this word that not a lot of, it's maybe not be the most popular word, but a lot of the brown people don't stand up for, and he is standing up for our values. And I think I'm not an Indian or a Pakistani, I'm American, and from the American standpoint, I support his values and what he's trying to accomplish for our community. And not just anybody here, this is a Pakistani man. We were at his house, John English's house, earlier, and there were no Pakistani Americans there. We were just trying to get the message across and what Puneet's message is, and I'm going to let him talk in a few minutes when I'm done. He has a great message, and I think we need our community to support him. He is standing up for the values that are important, not just to us, but to Americans. We are not Pakistani Americans, we are Americans. And we need to stand up for those values. And I really appreciate Nadia and Puneet to stand up for us, and they're representing us. If he gets elected, he's going to represent us, our voices. So, Puneet,
Thank you.
with all due,
Thank you.
thank you for doing this for us, and we are here to support you.
Appreciate it.
100%.
Thank you. Nadia, come on over.
Gonna say there's, like everybody said, there's, like Farida ji said, that there's nothing in common with Puneet, but I have a lot of in common with him. And
one person.
and
Something in common.
the best thing is he's a good human being. His policies is good, and that's what we needed. And after going India to the moon, I have more hope on him.
Thank you. Thank you. Hectic Thursday evening. And I do want to point out my good friend, Cassandra, who's also running for school board. And I requested her to come in. Just come stand here next to me, Cassandra, so we can take a picture for the wall. Yes. It's an important job because somebody has to stand for our kids. And I want to say that it's about parents' rights to have the decision what the kids should be taught and what their future should be like. So Cassandra, thank you for the fight you're doing.
Yes, sir.
And my job and the Board of Supervisors is first. Thank you. Well, a lot of things folks said, but what was important why I chose to run? First, when I ran for Lieutenant Governor in 2021, we are the beneficiary of the American dream, all of us. We have come here very well, and we have done exceptionally well. And that dream is in peril. And when people find a way to defund the police or take away merit-based education, at the same time find ways to have our kids be confused about who they are and what they are. It's important for somebody like us to stand up and say, no, not on my watch. And I thank my wife to give me the support that I need, which any husband or a person needs to run for office, because it's a very challenging, very demanding job. Oh, sir, please. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. So, and when I saw the seriousness of what's happening in my community, where we've been living for over 20 years in Drainsville and Fairfax County, for 30 years in Fairfax, we're down by 200 to 300 police officers. And when you call 911 next, depending on the emergency, the police may show up, may not show up. Secondly, our taxes are going up and our property values are going up, but at the same time, the taxes have doubled in the last 10 years, but our incomes haven't. And at the same time, the board gave themselves a pay raise, so there's no accountability or transparency. At the same time, it's important to have solution-based decision. I'm a pro-business guy who believes in, what's important when you sign at the bottom of the check, not at the back of the check, so you know what accountability is. So that means that we can't keep spending the money till we rein in the expense and the fraud and abuse that's going on in the county. So that was the other reason. And the most important reason is the future of our kids. Our kids are not anymore Indian kids or Pakistani kids. They are American kids. I want our kids to be competitive against the kids coming from India, China, Pakistan, or anywhere else. Because you know why? Because there's a huge emphasis on education, and the education emphasis is going away from here. We don't want our kids to learn math and science. For me, that's so important. And that's the reason why I requested Cassandra to come on over today and talk to the community and share why is she running on school board, because that's our future, guys. Now, there's another reason why I want to do a Pakistani American event. Not that I'm married to a Pakistani, but more importantly, I want the Pakistani American community to be organized, just like the Jewish community or the Indian community is. And what is the job of someone who is part of the community, who is married into that community, is to help to organize that community to really stand up and say, no, we are here and we want to be counted, because there are tons of Pakistani Americans who are not only successful in all facets of life, from IT, from doctors, from scientists, from business people who are really getting their back broken in terms of taxes being high, and more importantly, the cost of living going up. So I just want to find a way how we really organize these Pakistani Americans. And Frida was telling me that there's a young man who's running for office in Houston for Congress, which is great. But I also believe that all politics is local. And that's the reason why it's so important to have somebody you can call at 11 o'clock, oh, Puneet bhai, problem ho gayi hai. And agar koi aapke, I'm going to come in my language for a few minutes. If somebody, agar aapke koi jaisa hai, ya aapke jaisa hai, somebody's from your own culture, from your own background, it's very easy to approach that person. It doesn't really matter, you're Indian, Pakistani, Afghan, Bangladesh, or wherever you're from, South Asia. It's very easy for you to relate to someone who's from any aspect of faith, or because birds of same feather kind of gravitate towards each other. As you also said, that we have nothing in common with you, Puneet, but at the same time, you're all here to support me. Because we are one people. It's just not Pakistani Americans or Indian Americans. I'm, as my brother Amir said very rightfully, we're all Americans. So it's so important, as successful we are, to be more active in the political process. It is not somebody else's job to do it. Because when the taxes get very high, when the education system is being challenged, they are not merit-based, because our kids are the ones who are who are basically exceptional, and they are the ones who are being basically targeted. That's what has happened in TJ Coalition, where the kids' parents are really upset because their kids cannot be anymore get the admission in TJ because it's not merit-based anymore. So when it starts to impact your bottom line, it's so important for you to participate in that. And if anybody says to me, and I'll tell one more thing, because Fawzia said that she does real estate, anything you do is related to politics. Either it's property taxes, it's either meal tax you're having, it's all slowly going up, and the cost of business and cost of living is going up, but we're not getting the return. And my goal is to be your voice and to bring that practical solutions. So with that, I'll end with an open floor to have questions. I'm very passionate about this, and I'm going to win this. And I'm going to win this with your support. And how it's going to happen is, you won't have to tell your friends and family and your neighbors that let's get Puneet, he's one of ours, elected. because I can't do it by myself. I'm like, just like Cassandra and I, we're one people. Just before this earlier, my good friend John English, thank you, John, for hosting the great event for the Attorney General today. Phenomenal. So anyway, questions, folks. Any questions?
Can you please tell everyone what are the key timelines of voting, dates, and what they can do to help?
Yeah. First thing is November 7th is the election. It's a Tuesday. And the early voting starts on September 22nd. So if you have friends who are in Great Falls and McLean and who also live in a certain part of Herndon and Vienna, which is my district, but for Cassandra, she's running at-large school board, which means all over. So if you have friends and family, so September 22nd is early voting, so please tell them to support and vote. And when you said support, word of mouth is so important. So if you can post on social media what you hear, what you see, what message you take away from, just tell your friends and family. And then the second most important thing is for me to be able to get the message out to the larger community, it's dollars and cents. If it's whatever you want to give, we'll happily take it. And we've had very generous donors today. We raised a little over $20,000 or more. And politics is expensive. So that's the reason, whatever you can tell friends, $5, $10, $20 or $2,000 or $10,000, whatever you feel, please don't hesitate. Because I can't get my message out because palm card costs money and the signs cost money. And by the way, I'll also tell you, when we've been putting up our signs, Shadi, say hi. Hello. Shadi Muhammad is from Egypt. He's been working hard on our campaign. A friend of mine found him at Apple Store, and he's been a relentless hard worker kid. So proud of you.
All right, Sharif. Yes.
And it did not matter what was his fate. He was a hardworking kid. He needed a break, and that's how I look at it. I just want to be, when you get on that high up, you want to throw down as many ropes as possible. That's when I do want to send out the ropes to all the community members. They have to have someone they can reach out to, look up to, say, hey, we need your help. And that's what we're doing with Chari and everybody else. So please spread the message, contribute, support. But any questions, I'm happy to answer any of them. Successful business person, by the way.
Well, I actually, my federal government business. Okay, so some people might say that's an oxymoron, but okay. But I was successful. But so I am running for all of Fairfax County. So any district that you live in, you can vote for me. The thing about school board, though, it's a nonpartisan race. So you don't have D's and R's behind our names. So you'll see an R behind his name, but you will not see that. So it's so important to know who the people who are running for school board that have the conservative view. And so we right now have three. There are 12 seats. There are 3 at-large seats, and then there's a seat for every district. And every district and everything's being competed. So Republicans have endorsed me. They've endorsed 2 other young ladies, too, Sandra Davis as well as Maureen Brody. So we're on the ballot. So I bring this to you because people get a little confused when they go to the ballot box and they go, "What's this?" There's no D's and R's. So you have to get to know who your people are and the people that you really want that stand up for your values. And I can tell you, all 3 of us stand for your values. Our children are so important. The academics need to come back up. I mean, I've been in this county for over 30 years and I've watched it trend. Politics are out to lunch. That's my phrase. We really need to, I think, throttle back, as my husband would say. He's an airline guy. Throttle back and get back into family values. And so that's what I want to bring, and I didn't mean to take that. But I just wanted to explain the school board to you.
The school board is so important. It's the future of our kids. And the other thing which I want to do is, right from kindergarten to 4th grade, I want to have a program for kids to understand the successful businesses that are in the Fairfax County. The economic development president is a close friend of mine, and he says, Victor Hoskins, he says, Puneet, we can entertain these kids with these great opportunities of work. So from kindergarten to 4th grade to 8th grade, you start with mentorship program. And from 8th to 12th, you have what you call as internship. And I'll give you a very prime example. I have a young man by the name of Ryan Dadu, whose father happens to be here along with his wife. It was very hard for him to find a place to get somebody to have some internship. Brilliant, bright kid who's helping in our campaign. But the reason is that we live in this community and our kids cannot find jobs in this is such a successful area because we have not created any pathway for our kids to be able to get real-time job experience. I want to change that. And the reason is that these opportunities, and first more than when we grow up, because our kids grow up in the same community, they want to stay in McLean or Great Falls, but it's so expensive for them because one, they don't have a job, and second, how do you get a job, and then how do you really sustain a lifestyle in this expensive area? But that will all happen that when we have been able to position our kids, and those kids now are making $100,000 to $200,000 salaries, which other people are coming to this country taking away from them. America first.
You are watching Capital TV Washington. The best South Asian TV channel in North America.